All right, time to take them to church. So we got the Shadow Rock Church. So nothing crazy. It's the usual big box stacked on a little box that goes attaches to the Mjolnirs in the ground. Single faced, so it is asymmetrical. So the back parts are different than the front parts, which can be kind of tricky. And then we also have the nobody knows about the David banner, removable. In case Vice Squad be peeping, all that. So we'll go over all that real quick. But again, just a few things I want to point out, but pretty much it's a monument that we make. So with that being said, let's get after it. So lay of the land, you've got the parts for the big box here, and you have the back, bottom, and top C channels that create that little spot for the back panel, the door to be taken on and off. And then you just have your parts for your bottom box. Jiggies for the front side, a little bit different than the back side, obviously. And then you have, which are the same for the bottoms. Cabinet faces, you got your rear side with your rear door there, and you get your front. And then these are actually symmetrical for the bottom. They can flip back and forth. Custom power box and the switch box. We'll go over that. So these are your banner parts. These are the internal parts. They'll have half 13 welded. And then, so while you're doing the Mjolnirs, you can also hit those nuts up. And then these get onto the banner. Mjolnir parts. 063 white for our inserts. 1/2 inch clear pushies. And our usual clear Tough Act backers. So the main thing for this is having the stress. I just want to kind of go over that. Stress the stress. So we're going to have that wind load. You'll be able to transfer, the stress will be transferring through these 1/4 inch plates that you'll be welding into the jiggies. Now the jiggies will be doing plenty of work. You can see I kind of oversized these jiggies on purpose to make sure that they're grabbing plenty on the stanchions on the front, like the verticals. These will be grabbing the verticals real well, especially on the backside. You'll see where that burns in that plate there, but it's going to grab all here, so it should be fine. Same thing here. You got this, but I have it come down. It's grabbing C channel. And then, of course, the faces will be lords on, so you'll have all that shear strength. So it's not really so much worried about this thing kind of, ripping off the top part there, but it's going to be all here. So where this attaches to this that's going to be the stress point. And usually what I'll do is, how we do is I'll take that 1.5 by 3, or I'll take that 2 by 4, run it through, and then I might run up a vertical this way. But, due to Operation Supermodel, trying to keep things light and inexpensive, I'm not saying cheap, we're just going to rely upon the lords and the mechanical fastening of either rivets or screws like you guys do. So just make sure that the bottom box gets attached to the bottom of the top box really well, lots of lords, and then either shoot screws through your cleco holes, which are actually rivet size. Go ahead and do those. And then that way you'll have mechanical plus mechanical but chemical. And then also maybe run, where these guys here, the bottom of the verts, the 1, 2, 3, and 4, where those flanges meet, maybe shoot some screws through those holes as well and catch fresh all the way through. Just do some self-tappers just to give it some extra. So that way, but again, I don't think anything, it's not going to happen. If for any reason this particular thing has enough energy to actually break this, then we have a whole lot of other problems. We're not going to be worrying about this. We might be worrying about the rest of our lives. But anyway, so you got like I said, 1/2 by 13. So while you're burning these up, you can burn up these guys here and get those inserted. Again, C channel 1, 2, 3 with T and 1, 2, 3 on the bottoms. Put those in, and then that creates your place for your door. The other thing to look for is just on this one, I didn't do a bend scribe, because how it's like we do it on this side, but then the bend scribe you'd be reverse. So just make sure you grab it at the first of the notch, grab it there, bend it back, and then that'll give you 2 points to bring it together. One side's rollable, one side's not, and that way you can bring them together and frap. And then that way it'll be like that right there. I have a little bit of gap there, but that's how you'll be able to bring this in this way. You'll be able to bring this in this way. I think you guys did that Loma Linda sign with the big curved top. That's how you guys did that. It'd be very similar to that. I'm 7 inches back here just to give it some more flow. So you got plenty of room to run some power boys or whatever you guys want to do. Just go ahead and hand bend all those back like we do. And then install can run power through here. And then power, you can see it ghosted right there. Power's on vertical number 3. So if you were standing in front of the sign, this is the rear of the sign. But if you had x-ray vision, then you could blast through and see that's where it goes. You're going to be riveting this permanently with 4 rivets through number 3 into the power box. So you can see it there. And then I have clearance holes for the rivets that will already be on the power box once you assemble it. So similar to what we usually do, except it's kind of asymmetrical, like the hat kind of goes this way, and then the power box or the switch box goes in and then creates a little pocket. You have your inner piece that goes the whole way that the power supply mounts to. So you'll rivet that in like we do, and then go ahead and rivet the front part of the switch plate this way. That way it creates that pocket up against the door. Like that right there. So the switch, that'll be our pocket for the door. And then once it's all riveted in and everything's installed, make sure that you caulk this little guy here real good. That way it seals up this top flap and creates a waterproof, watertight place. So it's this little flap here that gets riveted through to this guy on top of the switch box. And then it right there in green. And then that juts back to here. So go ahead and caulk that all up. So that way water, if it gets in here, because this is all damp location, it doesn't make its way into the switch box. And then the same thing here, just to keep things kind of dry, whatever, it's going to have this nice big lid. But once you get it all riveted onto the vertical, go ahead and put a nice big caulk all the way along the top. That way water can't seep behind and come through, and it'll just drip out of the way. And then you have sort of a cover that kind of keeps the splashes off, but it only covers kind of like this part, but it'll allow heat to go out and escape here. So this will be all open. I would make this side your secondary side. I'd make this your 24 volt and then make all this primary on this side. And of course you have your ground and all that. So bring all your primary can come in the back side of the switch box there. And the long leashes will come out, and then you can make all your connections here. And then just let your 24 volt come out, and then you can run it over to your LEDs. So that's pretty much it for that. Just make sure everything's burned in real good. Make sure that's all nice and strong. But otherwise, yeah, it's just one of those. And then there are nothing here on the banner. Just have everything laid out on center. Start from the edge. You got 14 nice even numbers for you. You got these little nubs of 1.5 inches. The whole thing's kind of 1.5 inches up. Just make sure you hit these as accurate as possible, because you're transferring, human meat space, meat puppets. You're transferring that to CNC layout. So make sure that those, I gave you rovals though, try to be as accurate as possible. So otherwise, that's it. So as usual, if you have any questions, hit me up.